Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to Madam Emiloh. So today my name is Ahmad Firdaus bin ABDUL HAZIF. My index number is 2024-2724-40234, and my IC number is 050720030685. So today I'm going to discuss the task that was assigned to me, which is task 3, presentation of the subjects of Edup 3143, Sociology in Education. Let's moving forward to the main issue or main topic that we are going to discuss today. So basically, topics or the title of my presentation today is on how educational changes impact the evolution of students' social mobility towards a global citizen. First of all, I'm going to discuss about the contents of my slides presentation. So the first one, I have the introduction. The first point is I'm going to discuss on the meaning or definition of the educational transformation. And second point is why it is crucial to reform our educational systems. Moving forward to the next point, which is on the concept of social mobility. So I'm going to, first of all, I would like to I'm going to define the meaning of social mobility, and I'm going to relate it on how education as a tool for improving life opportunities. So basically that's social mobility, that's a gap and a relation between education and a social mobility on how education can improve someone's social mobility. The next or the third point is the current educational changes in Malaysia, including the integration of ICT and digital learning. Second one is student-centered learning and innovation. The third one on how STEM education development. And the last one is on how language development for global communication. Basically, these four is playing their own crucial role on how they can make the current educational system in Indonesia evolving towards a better way, towards a better systems on how they can improve the students' quality. The fourth point is the impact on students' social mobility. Basically, I'm going to discuss about the positive impacts of students' transformation, the impact of we as a community, as a global citizen, caring about our own students' social mobility. And moving forward to the fifth point, which is the challenges of educational transformation in Malaysia, the issues and limitations that needed to be tackled. And the last but not least is we are going to discuss about on how we can produce a global citizens. Words that are always mentioned in every presentation of an IPD training teachers on how we can construct a global future citizens. I'm going to give the definition first and the characteristics of a global citizen and how we can produce global citizens. Okay. Without taking too much time explaining about the contents, I'm going to proceed with the first topic, which is the first point, which is the introduction. First of all, I'm going to define and give the meaning of educational transformation. Okay. Educational transformation is basically a way of changing, a way of transforming our educational system from the rote teaching method towards a new way or modernized way of teaching. So basically, when we say modernized in this 21st century era, we actually integrate the digital things, and the technologies itself. Education nowadays is rapidly changing due to the globalization and digital transformation. And why education systems must be changed? First of all, technology. Second one, global economy. And the third one, international competition. The first one, technology. Same as the other field, education also must follow the way of on how the modernization impacts in this globalization, modernization era. The technology plays a crucial role of making the education is making it easier and making sure that every students get the same opportunities and same global access towards the resources, towards a good or quality of learning. And the teacher or the educator itself must prepare their own self to make sure that their future students or their students can understand what they are going to deliver and what they are going to teach of them. Basically, technology is making the education is become easier to learn. We integrated such as Google Meet. If we are having the limitation of making a face-to-face class, the initiative says we can make an online class, Google Meet, through Google Meet platforms. Google Classroom, a way of assigning a task to our students. We can provide the resources, such as if a student is absent on that day, the student can still learn by their own self about certain topics that have been teaching on that day because they are absent. Second one, global economy. Recently, we know that it is a world war is happening between Iraq, US, and few countries, Israel. So basically, when we are talking about education and economy, the economy is demanding a new way of knowledge, a new way of thinking, a new way of skill. In this era, it is very different between the rote teaching methods and the rote learning and knowledge. In this era, we are required to gain and to learn, to acquire many of the skills, such as digital skill. Digital skill is one of the crucial skills in nowadays, and we can deal with this kind of skills actually, such as I can see from my perspective is from my own friends. If they have the skills, they are good in computering fields. Basically, they can get a big amount of salary, and also the people global is searching for them. So as a future students, as a future teachers, we need to ensure that our students is basically instilled with this kind of skills in order to make sure that they are not limited only in Malaysia, but they are going to be a global. Global is they can get outside from Malaysia, they can introduce Malaysia, and they are proud of Malaysian names. So basically, as a future teacher, we need to ensure and instill this kind of certain skills, computer skills, mathematics skills, or gaming also is one of the skills that are required, because we know that gaming or gamification also is kind of helping the students to learn in an easier way. And gamification is one of the field that are giving a big amount of salary towards this nowadays. The last one is international competition. Same as when I'm in secondary school, we've we've organized few international competitions, such as a robotics competition or English, maybe a public speaking competition or choral speaking competition. That we know that the English itself, English language is the most or the first language of the world. Basically, when we instill this kind of we promote the use of English in our students, basically they are going to be a global citizen because they can communicate here and there. They can communicate and make a new friends, pen pal friends with the other countries students, such as maybe we can collaborate with United States students of when they're capable of speaking good English, they can communicate with the others. They can learn the other culture, and they can learn a new skills with their friends. They can share something with their own friends. And here, the role of the MOE, the Ministry of Education in Malaysia, which is they created a policy which is the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2013-2025. On their main focuses is on making sure that they can improve the quality of education systems in Malaysia. They are ensuring the equal access of the students to anything, the resources, the good learning methods, and the infrastructure. Is they are going to strengthen the digital learning, which is they are introduce digital education policy 2023. Fourth one is they're producing a globally competitive students and integrating hot questions in the thing in Malaysian students on how they can learn and they can improve of their examination. According to Ministry of Education 2013, Malaysian Education Blueprint basically is a system that reforming the quality of the educational system in Malaysia to improve the quality, to improve the access on how to create a globally competitive students. Okay. Recently, the MOE also introduced the RPM on Rancangan Pendidikan Malaysia 2026-2035, and basically both of this framework and policy, RPM and MEB, is collaborating with each other to ensure that the quality of our students is getting better day by day, and ensuring that they are emphasizing on the quality, the access, and digital. So we know that the three aspects is the main crucial part of this social mobility that we're discussing today. Moving forward to the next slide, which is the concepts of social mobility. Social mobility is in educational aspects, as I can explain, is students from different backgrounds can improve their social and economic status through education. For example, maybe poor students, when they get the equal access or better access in education aspects, they can improve their fate of their family. They can learn, they get a good resources, they get a good access, so they are being excellent in their examination and they perform, so they can improve their family fate and can be a rich family after this. Another example, a student from rural areas gaining access to a higher education. For example, the government is introducing PTPTN, such of like a fund that helps a low-income family to low-income students to get the same access as a rich students. Basically, with this kind of fund, they can help their own self and their own family to pay the educational fee, as this kind of PTPTN is a loan from the government. If they are excellent, they can achieve certain 3.5 GPA. They just need to pay maybe around 10% from the loan, and the effects of this is basically they can get a better job opportunities, as they can pay and they get the access of a good quality education from the loan of they can pay the fee, the educational fee, and this can make sure they can improve their income and quality of life. As basically the flow of this is, okay, they are rich students, the government came, they provide a loan, the rich students get the funds, they can pay their education fee, they can use that fee to ensure that the universities give the opportunities to them to get the same access as the rich students here. They are saying they get the equal access of the education, and after that they can perform and transform as the others, as the community, and they can improve their own life in the future because they get the same access. So we need to think on how we can provide the same access for this kind of students. So, according to Roshan and Rahman 2025, education plays a crucial role in social mobility, as it empowers individuals and bridge social classes. With improved access to education, it is being crucial for economic and social transformation. The education will help the students to improve their own future with the quality. So we need to think, and as a future teacher, we need to emphasize and instill the sense of thinking towards our own students. Okay, next slide is we are going to discuss about the current educational changes in Malaysia. The first point is the integration of ICT and digital learning. For example, we have online learning platforms such as Google Meet, or we can make quizzes or word walls to test our own students' understanding. And we have the digital classroom, which is Google Classroom. And these come the initiatives of the government itself, which is the Digital Education Policy measure. This Digital Education Policy DEP 2023 is introduced as the government is emphasizing on the needs of digital to make our learning become easier for the students, for the teacher, and for the stakeholders to analyze and to always observe the quality of education that being delivered by the teachers. When we're talking about ICT in education, we itself get the impacts. We know that it is helping us. For example, AI can help us to prompt and to give a briefly overview of a certain topics, and it helps us to make it related to computational thinking, which is we breaking down it to a smaller size, which is we can help us to understand it better. Okay. Second point is student-centered learning and innovation. How the government playing roles. Sekolah Transformasi or TS25 is basically focusing on the student-centered learning rather than the rote teaching method that focuses only on teacher-centered learning. So modern teaching focuses on the creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, citizenship, and last one, citizenship and character. Here how the 6C components help the students to make sure that they are collaborating with their own friends, they are communicating with their group peers, and they can get the way of creativity. And this kind of activities is basically affecting them to be a critical thinkers. For example, teachers can organize or can make activities related to group activities, such as maybe just collaborative writing. Using mahjong paper, they can communicate with their friends. They can draw anything, creativity. They can provide their own opinions, critical thinking. So basically, it is a student-centered learning. The third one is STEM education development. STEM education in Malaysia is recently being emphasized as a TVET also, or the government is balancing both STEM and TVET. So STEM is focusing on the science, technology and mathematics. So this kind of subjects needed this kind of 6C component, which is critical thinkers. We need creative thinkers. In this kind of subjects, we need to think outside the box. And the impacts of the STEM education development is we can prepare the students for future industries. They are normalized with this kind of technology. Basically, they can just make anything, and they are easier to learn and to use that technology. Second one is they can increase the opportunities in science and technology careers. There are too much of fields that related to science and technology. We have software engineering, we have computer engineering, we have too much oil and gas, all things that related to science and technology, mathematics. And the last one is language development for global communication. And basically, the government also introduced the MBI policy, which is memartabatkan bahasa Melayu dan membudayakan bahasa Inggeris, that explain that we need to strengthen the English while maintaining bahasa Malaysia, our own language. We know that English is the language of global communication. We can make our new friends using English. We can communicate with others using English. We can get and try to delve into someone's perspective in English. Basically, it is a crucial language that we need to ensure all of our students are capable of speaking a good English, and they are excelled in this kind of language to ensure that when they're going outside Malaysia, they can communicate with others as a characteristics of a global citizen. Next slide. We are going to discuss and focusing on the impact of students' social mobility. The first one is equal access to knowledge. When we balance this kind of infrastructure resources, this kind of digital platforms allow the students to access the global information. For example, the Google can give a much better information, but of course we need to rely on the textbook itself. But we can get additional information from the Google and to access maybe a data that are not in our textbooks. Second one is equal access to knowledge. When we're making sure that there are not any students are left behind, we are basically giving an equal access to the knowledge of all the students in Malaysia. We don't really care about, we don't really making gaps or basically differentiating between any student in Malaysia. We don't care if the students in Sabah or in Kuala Krai, Mani Urai, Kelantan, or any orang asli village also. The government need to take care of these students and make sure that each of these students get the actual access to the knowledge, as these students are basically diamonds that are shining brightly that can compete internationally. We don't know, maybe there are any IBAN children can make our Malaysian names proud in the global field. And we don't know, maybe Malaysian and Indian or in Chinese can make the Malaysian names is in the global stages. The third one is better career opportunities. STEM and ICT skills increase employability. Basically, technology plays a crucial role, as we discussed earlier. This kind of skills is needed, and as the global is demanding for this kind of skills, using Canva also is categorized as a technology-like skill, because we can design our own BBM through Canva, we can design any worksheet, and students also are excellent in using the ITs. The last one is development of 21st century skill. This is related with the 6 C's component: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, citizenship, and character. Through the balancing of social mobility between age students, we can create a good character of, we know that the government also, MOE have introduced about the anak baik lagi cerdik, a character that the MOE is implementing in the age kind of students in Malaysia. Basically, in 6 C's can be integrated, and teachers need to ensure that the 6 C's is being instilled in each kind of students in Malaysia's character. Moving forward to the producing global citizens. Characteristics. The first character on how we can produce a global citizen is a global awareness. There are many issues that global is facing nowadays. World War III, environmental sustainability. We need to think about the go green issues, that global warming issues. Why Penang is so hot? There are many kinds of things that are related to on how the awareness of our students. Second one is the intercultural understanding. I'm going to mention all of the points related, digital literacy, the third point. The fourth one, adaptability, and the last one is lifelong learning. Okay, let's say when a student is aware on the issues, on the current issues that are global is facing, basically they can communicate with other students on that certain countries and ask them. This is related with the intercultural understanding. They communicate, they try to delve into their own culture, they try to delve into the other student's perspective, and how they can communicate with this kind of student is through digital literacy. They use the social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, or any related to communicate with the students. And this can be collaborate as they are adaptable with any such kind of situation. They are not lack of technological skills. They can adapt to anything. And this kind of fourth aspects is the skills that needed to ensure that we are learning lifelong learning, basically. So basically, when the future teachers is focusing on this kind of 5 characteristics, they're basically producing a global citizen without they are knowing. They're introducing their students to digital things such as playing quizzes or playing wood walls. They can have the same access towards any social media and towards any social platforms to learn something. Google, ChatGPT, or Google Meet, Google Classroom, so that they are capable of get the same input such as the other country students. Moving forward to not the last one, but the second last one slide, which is the challenges of educational transformation. There are 3 main challenges, which is the digital divide, teacher readiness, and the student inequality. The first point, digital divide. Rural schools may lack internet access. Rural areas such as Sabah and Lahad Datu or any Tanom, many people saying that they didn't get the same access. Didn't get the same access such as the schools in SK Bandar Sarjana Putra. They didn't get the same access. But the government is trying their best in order to make sure that they provide the good infrastructure, same as the SK Sarjana Putra in Selangor. But this kind of problems we need to look forward into, as when the students didn't get the same internet access, they cannot access the same things such as the SK Sarjana Putra students. They cannot access to the Google, YouTube also. They cannot use the Google Classroom. They cannot use Google Meet. Second point, teacher readiness. Teachers must adapt to new technologies as a new or IPG trained teachers. The IPG is basically constructing their own students to get the certain benchmarks, which is they need to master the digital skills. They need to know on how they can use the technologies. They introduce many subjects related to technology in order to make sure that the new future teacher can be a synonym with technologies. Last one, student inequality, which is the some student lack of digital devices. This can be also related with that digital divide. If the students cannot get the same access, there are many opportunities, there are many way and initiative of the government introducing. The government can provide the Chatna B40 initiative, as government can provide the laptops or tablets to the low income students, and this can ensure that the students can get the same access as the students in the urban areas and a high income family. As a conclusion, I'm going to conclude now. Educational transformation in Malaysia is driven by technology and innovation. These changes improve student social mobility by expanding opportunities. With continuous improvement, Malaysia can successfully produce a global competitive citizen. I would like to have a quick recap on how what we are learning today, which is about the educational transformation first. We know that low income students get the same quality. They can change their fate of the family. They can change their own fate to be a better family, to be a high income family, as they get access to the good demand of occupation or anything. Social mobility is playing the main role, which is we need to ensure that all the stakeholders, which is teachers, students, parents, community, and governments, play their own each role in order to make sure that these students can get the same access. Parents need to work hardly, try to give their own sons, their own children, get the best way of education quality. The teachers is playing the most important role as they are delivering teaching and delivering the knowledge. As a final thought, as a future teacher, we need to ensure that we are giving the best to our students, as social mobility is a very critical issues that the teachers need to look forward, and we need to ensure that Malaysia students can be a competitive global citizen by ensuring we are not lefting any students behind, and this can make Malaysia's name become a better ranking in the world of educational systems. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.